Greetings all, and welcome back to another episode of What the Fuck is a Reborn Podcast. I'm Reborn, got my co-host Boy here. Just finished licking his nuts to say what's up to y'all. Let's go ahead and dive up into the show. Got Boy facts for you. Boy is the only person or creature I've seen that continuously falls up the steps. Every time it's time to go back in from his walk, he runs up to the steps, and Boy has a patience problem. You know, he likes to beat people into any door possible, and he has to beat me up the steps, which usually results in him tripping over his damn paws. He doesn't hurt himself or fall through or anything like that, but it is funny to see, and he doesn't give a shit. He falls, he gets back up, he looks back to me, he looks back at me like, I didn't think it was that damn funny, you know. But, you know, another fact, we running short on him, so I'm gonna have to find another thing. Maybe I'll go get some old knock jokes or some shit like that to fill up this spot, because Boy don't have that much going on. We gonna go on to sports. A little light news. I watched the Adrian Broner Jesse Vargas card, and that was okay. It started off with Gervonta Davis scoring a knockout. That was what I pretty much expected. Gervonta Davis is a talented boxer, but I'm waiting for him to fight competition first. That's usually how it usually goes with boxers. You knock out a couple of people, or you beat a couple of people, and then once you meet somebody that's your skill level, or up your ranks, you'll finally meet somebody that'll either test you, and you either stand up and rise above what people thought you were, or you end up like Amir Khan getting knocked out. I saw it on ESPN. They were trying to make like a big deal of him scoring that knockout. Well, he has to fight somebody weak, because he has to get his name back up, and he got to get his wins back up. You can't be talking shit, because at one time he was talking about he could beat Floyd or Pacquiao. Somebody set up the match. He's that good. Somebody needs to go ahead and let's schedule this, because he knows he can beat them. Then he turned around and got knocked out by Canelo and Danny Garcia. And, that's what led to him having a regular fight on a Saturday afternoon. But back to the Broner card. Charlo, I'm not going to try to say his first name. He scored a knockout in the second round with one of the cleanest left hooks I've seen probably this year. I'm going to call it right now. It'll probably be one of the cleanest left hooks. It was so clean. He punched the whole guy's face, from temple to chin. It was either the gloves were too big or the guy's face was that small, but he caught him, knocked him out. It was pretty clean. Now the Broner versus Vargas fight, I think a draw was pretty much, that's the way I'd have to call it, because neither fighter overtook the fight. Vargas was scoring clean punches. Broner was scoring clean punches. Broner more to the face, and Vargas more to the body, because Vargas was killing them to the body, and he was getting them with them looping left hooks like Maidana did, which seems to be a weak thing for Broner to try to block. He has weak defense against this looping left hook, but he was catching them with some nice quick hooks on the inside. I'm gonna give it a draw. All that shit talking he did at the end, I mean, that's what he does. He gets an oh well from me. It's not that big of a deal. It's a oh well. It's a draw. Go back at it again. If you think he beat his ass that bad, I didn't see. I mean, he might have been bruised. That's because he was taking all headshots. He was taking all his shots to the face. But he was killing your ribs, Broner. So I don't think you thoroughly whooped his ass, and I think both of y'all gave out an equal amount of ass whooping to each other, and it really wasn't even that much of an ass whooping, because nobody was knocked down or anything. Broner slipped the time he fell, which was funny. But other than that, I'm waiting on the I'm gonna go with a better card, because that card was kind of meh, and I enjoyed the knockouts, like it's a spectacular play. It's something that doesn't usually happen. I'm not happy that somebody got their block knocked off, but it's something I enjoy. No, I mean, if you judge me, I don't give a shit. I'm still going to enjoy boxing. But I'm waiting on a better card, better fighters to come up. This was just something to wet your beak a little bit. NCAA news. There were a lot of spring games that came on Saturday. Just to give you a quick overview of what I saw from a couple. The Florida game, it looks like Dan Mullen's going to do a good job with the offense. He's getting the offense up because ever since Urban Meyer left, Florida has always had a good defense. They keep putting defensive players in the draft and in the NFL, and, not as much on the offensive end. If they do, somebody that worked hard or something like that. But ever since Urban Meyer left, the offense has been sputtering. And it looks like it's like partially improving, but it's going to take Dan Mullen more than 1 year to get them where he would like them. But, things are looking up for Florida fans. In other college football news, I'm going to get back to the spring games, but I want to mention this. The University of Central Florida raised the banners and gave the rings to the players that had the undefeated season. I don't have a problem with that because it's not like, they had an undefeated season. Hey, they beat some decent teams. They beat Auburn. And, if that's what they want to do, by all means, celebrate the fact that, you were able to have an undefeated season with some decent competition. So, shout out to them. I don't know if they'll be able to do it again because the coach left to go to Nebraska. But, we shall see. In other spring news, I watched the Miami game was okay. As a Miami fan, I'm going to be honest. I think they should run the ball more. I think Travis Homer is a good running back. I think he's a pro 20 carry type running back who can help an offense. I think last year, especially in the losses that Miami had, they depended far too much on the arm of Rozier, and I don't think that should be the case this year. A nice balance will do him better. I think if the team starts out running the ball, then the play action, will open things up. But I watched the Bama game, and for those of you who got to see it on like the highlights on ESPN and stuff like that, Nick Saban came out and said he wasn't disappointed in Jalen Hurts, but let's all be honest, he was. He put his head in his hands one time with that that damn Easter suit Nick Saban had on. The fuck was that? But Jalen Hurts didn't look good. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. And at this point, I don't think it's a quarterback competition. I think they're just going along with everything until Tua gets back. Not going to try his last name, but, much respect to Tua. Good quarterback, but Jalen Hurts' dad came out and said if he doesn't get the starting job, they're going to transfer. They might as well just transfer now and get the shit over with. Like, you're wasting a lot of people's time. You could already have been, on the practice squad, setting yourself up to be the starting running back next year for another team. But now you taking the process along even further, and I think you taking time away from yourself and fucking up your, not fucking up, but derailing your future a little bit with this move. I think you should go ahead and transfer Jalen Hurts, or go play running back somewhere else or quarterback. Just go to another team and to get a fresh start over with. Watching Notre Dame, I'm gonna preface it by saying this. I don't have a problem with Notre Dame. I know they have a long-standing history and things of that nature, but a lot of people are just like Notre Dame is one of those teams since I've been around, especially since the 2000s have started, that let's just wait and see. They always are ready to hype up Notre Dame to, a top 5 team and all that. That's why I don't think they should have a poll or playoff poll or any of that stuff till probably maybe about week 8 or something like that. You doing things so early really doesn't prove that much. And you being ranked number 1 at the beginning of the season, it really doesn't hold that much weight because we don't know what's going to go. We don't know what's going to happen. Anything can go down. But as far as their spring game, they looked okay. Wimbush didn't look as clean as I thought he would after being the starter for most of the year. it's definitely a quarterback competition with him and the backup. I don't know the backup's name like that, but I just, it's just a wait and see with them, University of Georgia has a good quarterback problem right now. Jake Fromm looked good last year. He did what he was supposed to do. As I'm not going to say he was more than a game manager because, he used his arm to win them some games. And it's not his fault they didn't win the championship because the defense didn't know what to do when Tua got in there. But his backup, Justin Fields, true freshman, he looked good too. And I want to see how this pans out because I think it'll probably be one of those cases where Fromm gets to start, but Fields will definitely be playing in some ball games. I don't see it going any other way. I know he's going to play. Watched the Tennessee game. That was okay. Their quarterback looked okay. And then the coach came out after the game and called out a lot of players saying that they quit. He doesn't know any other way to say it, but he saw a lot of players quit out there, and he was very unhappy with it. He's a Nick Saban disciple, and he's been running the Alabama defense the last couple of years. So I think it'll either be a nice culture change that happens at Tennessee, because I know Tennessee has, fans have been, looking for something, to get excited about. And I think in 2-3 years, it could possibly get done. I watched the LSU spring game. Can somebody please help LSU find a quarterback? I'm not an LSU fan, but like I've stated before, I don't hate anybody. I'm a sports fan. I'd like to see everybody, succeed. I know some teams have to fail, but can we please have LSU find a quarterback? The last quarterback they had was Jamarcus Russell, and he was good at LSU. Regardless of how big of a bust he was for the Raiders, and he was a massive bust, he was good at LSU, and they haven't had a quarterback that's performed that well on the field in a while. And I would like to see how they would look if they could finally get that quarterback. Watch the Texas game. I don't think it's the coach's fault because he's the offensive coach. He did a great job at Houston running the offense and running that team for, the time being. But I don't think those quarterbacks have the it factor that, that a quarterback needs to make that team succeed. And not the it factor of being a superstar. Just the it factor, when the game's on the line and the other team has to find a way to keep from giving that quarterback the ball. Not because he may torch them for 300 yards, but because he will make the right play. Like Jake Fromm. He made the right play a lot of times. He's not a superstar yet. He's got to have another year. I don't think you could be a one-year wonder, but I think I think Texas is missing that superstar quarterback, or not even the superstar quarterback, a guy who gives them a better chance to win than what they have right now. And I watched the Penn State game. I'm black, so I support black coaches, and I really support James Franklin. I want Penn State to be good, and I would like for him to be the one that puts them over the top, and gives them more of the national recognition that they used to get over that horrible black eye that was left there from the previous regime. Not even gonna call them out. It's whatever with them. But Michael Parsons looked good for them. The true freshman that they got out there, he looked pretty good. It's like a good pickup. I didn't think he was gonna go to Penn State, but that just proves how good of a recruiter and a coach James Franklin is and can be in the future. As far as that goes, that was it for spring games. I watched the Ohio State one too, I'm sorry. And that one was okay. They have a group of quarterbacks to play. But Urban Meyer's a good coach. I like to see how he's going to do now that, his safety valves are gone. But they got Haskins and Tate Martell, so see how that goes. But they look like they can definitely make some noise, especially with the Big Ten being, a a little weak outside of them in Penn State. I don't know what Michigan's going to do. If Shea Patterson can play, I have confidence that Michigan will be better because Michigan defense is already top notch, and they're just waiting on the quarterback to help, to at least, put something out there because Peyton O'Corn wasn't that good. And I didn't think they were going to be that good. So I think Ohio State might have another easy trip there. And another thing I noticed in spring games, I'm not advocating that you hit the quarterback during the spring game, but I think you should have something where he doesn't get to run. A lot of teams were scoring and getting good yards off the quarterback's running, and you're not allowed to hit the guy. So, we can't really count that. And it's not like the defensive line can bust through and tackle him. They have to forcibly, arm tackle, go and try to grab him on the shoulder pads to stop him or something like that. Or they probably had a coach say, don't touch him, just get through. And I don't think that works well for your quarterback. I think your quarterback needs those in-game situations where, the pressure is on. This player is getting ready to hit you. Because I can tell you this right now. If you're playing against the Clemson defensive line, where they're going to have at least 2 dudes taken in the first round in next year's draft, hey, and nobody's going to tell them to let up. They're going to go out there and they're going to put a hurt on you. But outside of that, spring games was good. I'm a football fan, and that just shows how big of a football fan I am. I'm out here watching spring game practices, and the season doesn't start till late August, early September. But in the NHL news, I'm pretty much following 3 teams. The Penguins, because they have a player that I really like, Evgeny Malkin. I like tall, offensive players that can get the puck in the net. I really enjoy that, so I like watching him. They got Sid the Kid, who's an all-time great in hockey. Last week I told you I'm following Nashville to see how they do. I think they were the number 1 seed, and they got PK Subban. Got support for him. And I also watched the Washington Capitals because ever since before the draft, when I saw highlight videos of Ovechkin when they were scouting him, I've been a fan ever since. So that's my favorite player nowadays, and he fits that, tall scorer. That and they might not even have to be tall. I just enjoy scores, and that goes into any sport, basketball, soccer, football for anybody that's foreign listening, hockey, anybody. If you can get buckets, I'm a fan. I'm a watch. That's plain and simple. When I go over my, who my top 5 players in the NBA right now, in a future podcast, you'll notice. But outside of that, the Penguins in Nashville advanced to the next round, and the Capitals are up right now, so keep an eye on them. And if you get a chance, please check out playoff hockey. It's the shit. All right. NBA news. I'm gonna go over some quick notes of what I think of each matchup. I'm not predicting anything. That's not my thing. But I just tell you what I like. What I saw. As far as San Antonio Golden State goes, it's over. And especially after Popovich is going through this thing, not even going to go further into it, just see what the Spurs do in the offseason, see what Golden State does with their next round opponent, which would be the Pelicans. Didn't expect the Pelicans to sweep Portland like that. That was fucking crazy. I really didn't see that happening. I couldn't tell you who I thought was going to win, but just the way that New Orleans played was crazy. Drew Holiday and Rondo stepped into that time machine, because a lot of people forget a couple of years ago, Holiday was an all-star playing in Philadelphia before he got traded. And everybody remembers Rondo during Boston's run, how good he was. And both of them, combined with Anthony Davis, turned out to be something great. And one thing I need from Portland, I need Gary Payton or somebody, Michael Cooper, Bruce Bowen, Tony Allen. Y'all need to go down there and show McCullough and Lillard how to play some defense. All right. And I don't expect them to be shutdown defenders or all NBA first team defenders, but I need a little bit more effort, because it wasn't just Rondo's passing that was hurting him. Rondo was out there getting buckets. And once Rondo gets buckets, that means you got to respect him. And that means if you following him, trying to keep him from scoring, that means somebody's open. But very surprised by it. Shout out to the Pelicans for doing your thing. I think it'll be a good matchup when they do play Golden State in the next round. That'll be a real interesting thing to see, because I don't think Draymond Green can hold Anthony Davis, but I'll save that for the next round. Milwaukee and Boston. It's going the way I thought it would, but not in that way. I figured this would go 6 or 7 games because both of the teams have fight in them. You know, they got a lot of fighters on both sides. Excuse me, boy, what's that? Could you be quiet? I don't. The sports section isn't your section, so let me get back to that, sir. Thank you. I like the way Boston is playing, especially Jaylen Brown. He's showing his worth, showing why he was picked that high in the draft. I like to see Tatum be a little bit more consistent with his scoring, because that can help him and Rozier. See, I think that's one of the reasons that Milwaukee was able to get those 2 games, is because both of their shots were off. So if that shot's off, you don't have those points like they were in the previous game. So, you know, you're going to need some help with that. As far as Milwaukee goes, surprised by Thon Maker. Surprised. He's actually playing, actually doing something on the floor, impacting the game with not just scoring, but with his defense. If you follow basketball to the grassroots, you know that he's been somebody that they've been hyping since he's been in the 8th grade. So it's good to see him, you know, flourish a little bit, even if it's just on defense. I want to see more from him, you know. But the series, I don't know how it's going to go. Just enjoy the game and keep it moving. Cavs and Pacers. People shouldn't be that surprised that the Pacers are playing that well. Of course, they only had that one game on national TV, but come on. This is the internet age. If you want to see a Pacers game, you can see a Pacers game. And they're playing exactly how they have the whole year. As far as the antics from the game the other night, I ain't got nothing to do with that. And for the Cavs, I think LeBron, I predicted that LeBron would probably have to average at least 50 points for them to win this series. It's good to see his teammates stepping up. It's not that I don't trust his teammates. I think LeBron, as I've already said, great player, one of the best of all time. But I don't think he has the team that, you know, can match what he's looking for with his skill set, you know. Because we all know he's a pass-first kind of player. And, you know, he scores buckets out of necessity. Not because he wants to. It's, you know, it's always available, so he makes it happen. But it's good to see that the rest of the team is stepping up and making this a good series. Because the way they whooped that ass in Game 1, I was hoping that it didn't go that way, and I'm glad that it didn't. The Raptors and the Wizards are going the exact way I thought it would. Of course, the Raptors won the first 2 games, and I just don't have that much confidence in the Raptors making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's like DeRozan does his thing, and then we wait for somebody else to show up. For most of the time, most of the year, most of the season, they've always had other players step up, you know, because I think Lowry is on the downslide of his career. He might be going through an injury right now that he's just playing through, but he just doesn't seem to be playing like himself. So I think that's a drawback. The Wiz, John Wall, I wished he was playing for another team because I think it will elevate what he does a lot better. Because the only other person that you can really trust on that team is Beal, but Beal is injury prone. I'm very glad to see that he played the majority of the year. It was good to see that. I think the Wizards are missing something. Maybe a consistent three-point shooter. I don't see it in Otto Porter. I think he might even be hurt. I don't know. I haven't really checked for him like that, but the Wizards are missing something. And I hope they can get it. Or John Wall can go somewhere where, he can be in that conversation as one of the best point guards, because I think he is. As far as who will win the series, I have no clue. I'll just enjoy it. I know this is going 7 games, so I'm enjoying the next 3 with no problem. The Sixers and the Heat. As far as the Heat go, I think it's starting to show that Spoelstra might not be the coach that can help the team in the playoffs, because it's only so many ways the Sixers can beat you, because they're a young team and the coach is doing a good job. But I think Miami's lacking in the defensive department and the scoring department to contend with these guys. And I just hope that they can, add the key pieces, that can improve and make them a better threat. As far as the Sixers go, it's not that hard. They got a LeBron Cologne and Ben Simmons. He likes to, dish it off, give out saucy passes. They got shooters and Redick, Sarge, Bellinelli, and Ilyasova. And once you put Embiid out there with them, the team is so versatile and can do so many things and has so many parts. I can see why they've been successful thus far, because you have a lot on your plate. It's a lot that you have to watch. And Ben Simmons is putting the shooters in a situation where those 4 gentlemen can, get those threes, or get that bucket, or draw the foul, or, move it back around and get it to Embiid. I think I'm glad that they trusted Brett Brown to make this happen, and we could be looking at a team that, could be something in the future, which is good, because no knock on LeBron, but the East has been weak ever since Dwight Howard decided that he was going to go to the Lakers. So I just want the East to be better so we can get better comp and just, better series in general, because whether, they win or lose, I just want things to be a little bit more competitive out there. The T-Wolves and the Rockets, I thought this is pretty much going the way I think it is. I only see the T-Wolves winning this one game because I don't think they have the cohesion to make a run. I think they're good enough to be where they at, bottom of the playoffs. Another year or 2, they'll tighten up and get it together once they actually decide to listen to Coach Thibs, and Thibs goes out and gets players that's better suited for his system. I don't think Wiggins and Teague are, even though they had good games last time. It was good to see Towns step it up, because Clint Capella was shutting him down, and he was looking bad. But it's good to see that, in the last game he got it back right and, helped the team get the win. As far as OKC and Utah, I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised that OKC's Big Three has been playing this bad in the fourth quarter. I really don't understand or get why that's happening, but it's just weird to see like Paul George and Russell Westbrook not perform the way we've always seen them perform. And shout out to Utah, the whole organization, whoever the GM is, Quinn Snyder, the players, all that. Because Rubio, for this being his first playoff series, he's stepping up to the plate. And I didn't even know. I forgot how bad Minnesota was, that this is his first time stepping into the playoffs. Because I think he's been in the league almost 10 years. But it's good to see him playing well. It's good to see Donovan Mitchell do his thing. This series is pretty much based on what Westbrook can do. If he comes out and scores better, they have a greater chance of winning. And I know that's easy to say, but that's what has to happen. He has to come out and play better in the fourth than he did the last 2 games. If not, they wouldn't be, down right now. But I'm enjoying this series. Feels like it's going 7 games, and I'm enjoying the playoffs as a whole. Each day is something good to watch. Maybe a game isn't as good as some. And a lot of series, especially on the East, they're getting chippy. A lot of pushing, a lot of holding me back. I know nobody's going to fight, but, it's good to see that somebody's showing, a little personality and a little grit to them. Because I didn't think we was going to get that too much, especially with no Grizzlies in the playoffs. Sticking with the basketball, I see the sneaker companies. Their season has started for the high school kids. What is it called? The Adidas Gauntlet, the Under Armour Association, and the Nike EYBL. I follow the EYBL because they usually have more. Sorry, what's that book? I'm sorry. I like the EYBL. Okay, I'm gonna explain to people why I like that better. Okay, but I'm sorry. Okay, I don't mess with Under Armour like that. I only got a pair of sweatpants for them because my grandma bought them for me for Christmas. But can I continue? Thank you very much, sir. Follow the EYBL, more star-studded. I went a couple years ago. Back, I can't remember the year, but the class that had Jahlil Okafor and Cliff Alexander and all Cat Towns and all those guys. I saw that class at the EYBL. It was enjoyable. So I always stick and watch them. I think when they do come, when the Nike EYBL comes to my area in Virginia at the end of May, I don't think it'll be as, bad parking wise as it was the last 2 years, because this class coming up and, the next couple of classes aren't as star-studded as, the previous 2 or 3 have been. So I think I'll be able to get in there, get a good seat, catch Vernon Carey Jr., Cole Anthony, Scotty Barnes, a couple of players, But if you ever get a chance, go ahead and check out one of those games, just to see, just for the experience. I enjoyed the one time I went. I watched Cliff Alexander dominate, and I don't know where he's at in his career, but I hope the best for him. And I thought I was going to see Okafor play, but he didn't. He was injured. But that's a big-ass dude. I saw a lot of coaches. I saw John Calipari. I wish I would have saw Coach K because, I am a Duke fan. And, I won't go fanboy him and run up on him. But it would have been just, good for me to be able to say to myself, or tell my pops that I met, not met, but I saw Coach K live and direct. Because my pops has the ultimate coup right now. He had a situation where he had to help Allen Iverson with his softball tournament one year in Philadelphia. And he got to meet Kevin Garnett. And Kevin Garnett is my favorite basketball player of all time. So I'm, was and still very salty about that. But, make sure if you don't get a chance to check it out live, go ahead and check it out. The games are on the net. They are on YouTube. Trust me. All you got to do is put it in the Google search bar and you will get those games. Trust me. Okay. Just going on another topic. The NFL released its schedule. Don't really care. I just looked and saw who was playing like the sorrier teams. Like who has Miami and Buffalo and what's that other sorry team that I was laughing at? The Cardinals and the Colts. Because unless Andrew Luck playing, the Colts ain't shit. So it was just, looking to see what's going on. I don't care who the Raiders have on the schedule because that's my favorite football team. If the defense is as disgusting as it was last year, I will only be watching Red Zone. In other NFL news, the draft, the first round will be on Thursday. And let me gripe about that for a second. Don't know if I have, but I am now. What the fuck is going on with the NFL got the draft coming on a Thursday night? If they don't get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Hey, I grew up. The draft was something I always watched. Me and my pops, it's usually around his birthday, and we usually would sit down and enjoy the draft, go get like a pizza or something like that. We treat it like the Super Bowl. We snack up, we watch the draft because we had been watching college football. We know what, we know what's getting ready to come out. And, Man, put that shit back on Saturday, man. Fuck that. But with the draft coming up, I'd like to give a quick, I'm lying, it's not going to be quick. I'm going to try to make it quick, but it probably won't come out that way. Not my mock draft, but who I think they should pick. And I'll give a short reason why. With the first pick, the Browns, I got to pick a Saquon Barkley. I know they got Carlos Hyde, but you might as well add more weapons. You have to add more weapons to the offense. You already got a good quarterback. And I don't care what anybody says, Tyrod Taylor is a good quarterback. He led that Buffalo squad to the playoffs. And they probably could have had the first round home game if the coach wasn't trying to sabotage him and put Peterman in there, who turned and threw 5 picks and a half. But he's a good quarterback. They've added some pieces at wide receiver. They still have some good pieces at tight end, good running backs. And I think adding Barkley will give their offense that extra oomph I think it needs. You know, they probably won't go that way. Probably end up picking a quarterback, but I think they should do that. With the second pick, I think the Giants should get Quentin Nelson to help shore up that line. You really need help on that line. The Giants' offensive line has been pretty bad. And it's a good thing that they grabbed Nate Solder. But I think you should go ahead and grab the guard. I know a guard isn't a sexy pick for the second pick. But what you can do is shore up that line. And, you know, I don't think you can be successful in the league as far as winning Super Bowls if your line isn't blocking. Okay? So I think they should go ahead and make it easy on themselves and pick him up. Keep Eli upright for a season or two. The third pick, the Jets. I think they should pick Sam Darnold. I think the Jets need a quarterback. And on top of having a quarterback, I forgot who their coordinator is. I think it's Todd Haley. But they definitely need offensive help. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coach. And I know a lot of people aren't checking for them. But if you saw the Jets defense last year, they had a pretty good defense. You know, very good, commendable defense. Todd Bowles is a great defensive coach. And I hope he can get his offense to match so he isn't stuck just being a defensive coordinator the rest of his career. Fourth pick, Browns. I think they should pick Bradley Chubb. I think you could go ahead and put him on the other side from Myles Garrett. And he is better against the run than Garrett, so putting him on the other side I think will work pretty well. He's a good pass rusher. He's a good defender. And he has one of those things that I look for in a defensive prospect. Can he dominate a game? For a defensive prospect, if you can't dominate a game, or, you know, not even dominate, but at least have games where you're constantly having your name called, I don't think, you know, I'm not going to say you're not going to be good, but I'm not going to be checking for you until you get to the league and show that you can. You know, with all the defensive players that are great now, I saw them dominate games in college. And I think Bradley Chubb has a chance to do that. Fifth pick, the Broncos. I think they picked Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen is cut from the same cloth football-wise as John Elway. And I think the Case Keenum thing is just insurance. But I think Elway goes out there and gets the quarterback who's just like him. I've already showed support for Rosen. One of the crazy things that I'm hearing is that he's fallen in the draft. But when they always speak about Josh Rosen, and I've said this before, I'm pretty sure of it, they talk about how much arm talent he has and how good of a quarterback he is. He's cerebral in how good of a quarterback he is. Now, the durability issues, I think his tackle's going to get drafted, but I think that's off athleticism and not what you saw on film. I watch UCLA games. The team, especially offensively, wasn't good. So when you don't have the rest of the team as talented as you are, you're going to end up on your back. Shout out to David Carr. Get a line, help your team, help them perform. I think the Colts at number 6 will pick Denzel Ward. I don't see a cornerback changing the whole defense, not by himself. At least without other defensive backs there with him. I don't know. I think the Colts still have Vontae Davis, so I think they can work in their favor, but I think that's who they'll pick. Number 7, Minkah Fitzpatrick for the Bucks. So I have them picking. I think they need to, add to the star power on the defense that they have on the offense. The offense, I don't think they need to add anybody. I think they just need continuity and consistency. And I think they can now focus on putting the pieces together to, make their defense just as talented as their offense. Number 8, pick the Bears. I got to pick a Tremaine Edwards, nice athletic linebacker who can do a lot of things. I think Chicago made good pickups with Trey Burton and Allen Robinson in free agency. They already have Tariq Cohen as a nice third down back and Howard as their feature back. So I don't think they need, they don't have to worry about focusing on getting that offensive weapon because it's not a lot of, high picks that I see out of like the wide receiver section. So I think them picking Tremaine Edwards, helping out their defense, will be okay. Number 9, the Niners, I got them picking Roquan Smith. I think Roquan Smith will fit in good, especially with Reuben Foster being suspended. I think they come in, shore him up. If he plays well, I think they get rid of Reuben Foster. But I think Roquan Smith is another one of those defensive players that I saw dominate multiple games. He was always around the ball, on run plays and pass plays, and I think he should get a lot more respect than what he's got. 10th pick, I got the Raiders picking Vita Vea from Washington. I think Vita Vea has a chance to be a Haloti Ngata, a guy who can push the pile from the defensive tackle area. And I really think, when I found out that the Raiders were trying to get Ndamukong Suh, I think that the focus, I think they're trying to focus on keeping that defensive line intact, even though the Raiders do need corners. They need anything on defense except a defensive end. And I mean, that's 10 other positions that you need filled out, and they need to go ahead and make that happen. Anything for the defense for the Raiders would be a plus. At number 11, the Dolphins, I have them picking Daron Payne. I think they need somebody to replace Suh. I don't think the Dolphins GM gives a fuck the way he's just been getting rid of players and not replacing them properly. But it doesn't matter. They can pick anybody. Anybody's a good pick for them. Number 12, the Bills, I have them picking Josh Allen. After Peterman, after his horrendous display, I think they actually gave up on him in that instant. And, a quarterback that they can bring in who's he's definitely physically talented, but, they're going to have to work with him to make him better. 14, the Packers, I have them picking Derwin James. When the Packers were in Super Bowl contention, it wasn't just because of Aaron Rodgers and his offensive talents and the Green Bay Packers offensive talents. Charles Woodson in that defense also made a difference. I think they fucked up by putting Clay Matthews in the middle linebacker. I think it stalled his development because, he was on pace, I call him Jaws because he's always on the hunt when he was, pass rushing. I think they need to get him back to that, and I think by them bringing in Derwin James, who has a similar defensive game to a Charles Woodson, I think they can go back to, after they add a piece or two besides James, I think they can get back to their winning ways of being, contenders because they're going to need it. 15, the Cardinals, they're a mess. I got them picking Baker Mayfield. He has a chance to start. I think the coach was set up for the fail, so I don't have too much about that. I hope the best for the Cardinals, but once I saw them pick up Bradford in the offseason, nobody gives a fuck. It's over there. I just hope the best for them. 16, the Ravens, I have them picking Orlando Brown. I think you shore up your line because your defense is good and talented, but I think you shore up your offensive line and keep Flacco upright for the next 4 or 5 years so you can actually contend and not let Pittsburgh win the division so much. 17, the Chargers, I have them picking Isaiah Wynn. He played tackle at Georgia, but I think I don't know unless he plays it, but I think he'll be fine at guard or tackle. He's that talented. There's going to be 2 Georgia running backs drafted, and we saw how well Fromm played, and he's one of the reasons. setting holes and blocking and just doing his thing. And I think that's what the Chargers need. You know, there's no quarterback high enough for them to pick, so they can put somebody that can come behind Phillip Rivers later on. And I think they probably do that next year's draft. If they stink, that's probably what they do. Because they don't have, the pieces to trade up, I don't think, unless there's other first-round picks for the future. But that's who I have them picking. I think that work out best for them. 18, Seattle, I have them picking Josh Jackson. Kind of got the Richard Sherman thing. Tall, ball hawk, can get it done. But Pete Carroll's going to have to do some other stuff. I think they need to address the line. And I don't have anybody. I don't think it's a lineman worth coming up, at the 18th pick that they need to jump out and get. Josh Jackson, help out with the defense. At least keep that strong until you can help keep Russell Wilson from getting destroyed. 19, I have the Cowboys picking Harold Landry just to add an extra pass rush, just to help them out to make that defense better. I think with the young defensive backfield and with Jalen Smith coming up, I think adding a pass rush will help ease the concerns for your back seven. 20, I got the Lions picking Darius Geis. They need a running back, and I don't think he'll have the same injury problems because he won't have to carry the offense for the Lions like he did for LSU. We already went over the problems with LSU at the quarterback. So if the team's going to run, he's just pretty much a target in practice. But I think he goes to the Lions and gives them a versatile threat because he is good out the backfield and he does have the speed to break plays. I think he goes there, and I think he actually helps that offense. 21, the Bengals are having picking Van Der Esch from Boise State, just a linebacker to help replace Vontaze Burfict. I think they could maybe add a defensive lineman, but like other picks, I don't see it coming. Nobody big enough or good enough for that spot, unless you want to move up to go get somebody. I don't see it. Pick a linebacker that's gonna help transition out Burfict. He can make plays. Pretty good guy. You already have a decent defense, so he won't have to do everything. 22, the Bills, I have them picking James Daniels, the guard from Iowa. There's no Hall of Fame tackles in this draft, but it is some guys who have potential to be good at guard. And I think what they need to do with that one is to help keep up whatever quarterback you have, put him back there. Keep him clean. 23, I got the Patriots picking Mike Hughes. I don't know if they let Malcolm Butler go, if they kept him, but I think he'd be a good pickup. They need some DB help. We watched the Super Bowl. They couldn't cover shit, so that should help. 24, the Panthers. I got to pick a DJ Shark. One thing I have noticed recently, LSU wide receivers playing pretty good in the league. And Cam Newton's a good enough quarterback to get Shark the ball. He's been showing his ass in this offseason. At the combine, he's showing he has, good hands and athleticism, to make some plays happen. 25, I got the Titans picking defensive tackle Taven Bryan from Florida. I think the Titans are always focused on making sure their line is good offensively and defensively, and I think he comes in and he helps out a lot. 26, I got the Falcons picking Justin Reed from LSU. That's Eric Reed's brother, and this is another one. We've seen defensive backs from LSU come in and play pretty good, and I think when you add him to a team that defense is already pretty good, I think it'll help out a lot. There's a plane going in the background because I live near Air Force Base, but I'm not fucking pausing and waiting. I'm gonna push through this shit, and I know y'all can hear me, so fuck the planes. At 27, I got the Saints picking Lamar Jackson. Drew Brees is getting up there, and I think Sean Payton is the offensive mastermind that can help Lamar Jackson flourish in this league. On to the next pick. 28, I have the Steelers picking Ronnie Harrison, safety from Alabama. I think Harrison was a decent playmaker in Alabama, and I think that's what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been missing, is playmakers in the defensive backfield, and I think he can help with that. 29, the Jaguars, I have them picking Christian Kirk. They need an athletic wide receiver who can help in the return game and also be a good player in the slot. I think Christian Kirk is definitely made for that spot, okay? Because I didn't agree with the Jaguars letting Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns go. I thought it was a bad move. I think it's going to bite them in the ass. I only think Blake Bortles as an okay quarterback. I don't think he's the guy that can take you over the top like that. I don't see it happening. And I think Christian Kirk comes and helps lighten the blow that Pro Bowl wide receiver and another good wide receiver that left. He can't replace those numbers, but he'll, put up some decent numbers. 30, Vikings, I got them picking Jaire Alexander. For those who know, Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer is a defensive guy, and Terrence Newman still starts at damn near 50 years old. So I think Jaire Alexander, who's a good corner, was very good at Louisville. I think he comes in there, gets the tutelage from Zimmer, and, grows. I think he has a chance to be a really good player for them. 31, Patriots, I got them getting Mike McGlinchey. They need somebody to replace Solder. I don't think you should get McGlinchey because when Notre Dame was playing their toughest games, he disappeared. When I watched him play Miami, he got beat by everybody, not just one player. In other games in which they've lost, he's faltered, especially in pass blocking. And I know, keeping Tom Brady off that grass is the most important thing. But the fact that you have, I guess they think they can train him up and make him something. In the final pick, the Philadelphia Eagles, I have them picking Isaiah Oliver, tall corner out of Colorado, has the athleticism and some ball skills. I think he could do a good job there and replace, I think, Ronald Darby, who left. I think he could do a good job there and, making that happen, smooth transition. Of course, he'll have his bumps and bruises as far as being a rookie, but we all watched the Super Bowl, and they also couldn't stop shit. So you still got to add some pieces to the defense to help out. Even though you won the Super Bowl, you always want to improve. They picked up some good players in the offseason, and I think this is like cherry on the motherfucking Sunday. That's my mock draft, what the fuck is a Reborn mock draft. Just who I think they should pick up. If they don't, there's no problem. I won't lose any sleep over it. Just to give you guys an overview of, what I think about it. I appreciate everybody for listening once again. Hit the like button. If you don't, I appreciate it anyway. Y'all be easy. Have a good one. And it won't be as much sports talk. It'll probably be an overview. But it was a lot of stuff going on in sports, and with the draft coming up, I'm just gonna, next week I'll probably just, do a quick overview, playoffs, what I thought about the draft, and I'll probably get into something else, maybe some music or something like that. But like I said, enjoy having you here again. Appreciate you for listening. Be easy, be blessed.